Hey guys. Hey, I just wanted to share a little bit of maybe some bass fishing right now here along the Black Creek and the St. Johns River for people that are curious right now. Right now it's June 22nd. I fished this past weekend, and for the longest time Black Creek is kind of hard to fish, especially if you don't have certain depth finders or like, you know, some kind of live scope or something like that to be able to pick up on the deeper water, because most of Black Creek you'll find spots that are like, 10, 15, 20 feet deep along the creek here. Well, what I wanted to share, what I've learned so far, and this is this past weekend that I kind of figured out some of the fishing, is like right here at the entrance of Black Creek. And if you're not familiar with Black Creek is, you got the main St. Johns River right here, Jacksonville up this way. You zoom in down here, it's below Doctor's Lake right here. And then you got this little canal area. In Black Creek, you'll see manatees swim up and down, but this canal, what is it? Peters Creek. This little this little area here is where I found uh I guess the better area for catching bass. This gets really busy throughout the day if you're not familiar with Black Creek, where you get jet skiers, a lot of boats run up and down it. People are coming up and down because they live up here in Black Creek. They use it as a way to do skiing and all sorts of stuff when the main part of St. Johns River gets choppy and stuff. So if you come here to try to fish, you're gonna get blown out in the middle of the day just by all the jet skiers and everybody running up and down. It's really hard to fish the sides of Black Creek. It looks prime for fishing and it's deep, but unless you're fishing it early in the morning, it's really kind of hard to fish. So these small little channels and canals and little areas like this are like your best bet. But I'm gonna be honest, I've ran all the way up Black Creek, all the way past the bridge here, all the way through, where it forks here at the end. And this is where like it starts to get into like a no ski zone, so they can't wakeboard and all that other stuff. But even down in here, I fished all of this. I fished out past this bridge and up this way some, and I just could not catch any bass. Granted, I don't have a live scope. I have like two little Lowrance Hook 5s. One with side imaging and then one with just regular down imaging on my boat. So I don't have any kind of great depth finders to be able to target and pick up fish. But I've tried a lot of things. I've tried worms. I've tried, um, you know, pitching and flipping with jigs. I've tried, deep diving crankbaits. And it's just really hard to try to pick up on spots. And what I've kind of found out is that the bass that I've been able to catch have been up in this little creek area here. And that's partly because instead of it being like 15, 20 foot deep in some of these areas, it gets about 10 foot on average in here. Sometimes 11, sometimes 9, sometimes 12, whatever, along this creek. It's pretty deep right now. And granted, the water level is it seems pretty down on the St. Johns River right now. So this is, like I said, it's June 22nd. So to give you guys a time frame here in June, and you can always probably reference this back for if you wanted to use this video for where to kind of fish. What I found right now in June, right here in Peters Creek. So what I do, just to give you guys the idea, is I use it's a blue super fluke, and I think it's a 4/0 hook, that has like a weight on the bottom, and I'll probably put the little, you'll see here in a second, the little images of the super fluke and then the hook type and everything that I use. I'll put those up here so you guys can kind of get an idea. But what I do is I fish the sidelines, and what you'll notice is like along the creek channel here, it's shallow near the edge, but it drops off like super fast at like 10 foot, like really quick. So that edge is where the bass, it seems like they go up to that area to like, get bait fish. And I found a lot of little bait fish just spooling up in here, partly because maybe the jet skiers and stuff are running up in here throughout the day. So it's hard for them to, maybe that bothers them. I don't really know. I'm not really sure, but this canal works really well for bass fishing. So I went out Saturday, hooked up on three of them, three bass through here. One got off. And then every bass that I caught were like the smallest one was probably at 1 pound, but every other one I caught was like close to almost 3 pounds. They were all around 3 pounds. I think pretty sure one was well over 3 pounds. And they're all decent sized bass. And me, I tend to not keep any bass that are like 4 pounds or more. If they're in that 3 poundish range, I'll keep them, I'll clean them, and I'll eat them. Some people don't like to eat bass, but to me, I don't mind doing that. But if they're a big bass, I'll throw them back. Anything around that 3 pound range and under, I tend to eat. They're good eating size bass, and their meat comes out wider when they're small, like that 1 pound bass. Their meat just comes out better. So the smaller bass I feel like are really good to eat, like the 1, 2 pounds. When you start to get the 3 pounds, sure you get good slabs of meat from them, but I tend to not um, keep those kind of bass. So just something to consider. You take that little super fluke and you got to fish it very slowly. So you'll cast it to the edge, and then you'll let it hit the bottom. Drop to the bottom with the weighted super fluke, and then you'll dart it like once or twice, and then you'll let it just slowly get down. And I noticed that any of the bass I catch are near the edge. Anything that I drag out to the middle, I'm not getting anything. Like I've tried a couple different ways, and I've tried a couple different lures. Maybe some other lures might work, but that seems to be working for me is the little blue super fluke. So maybe that'll change coming like July, August timeframe. I imagine the bass will probably move around different. But as of June, right now, June 22nd, um, that seems to work here in Black Creek. So we're in Peters Creek along Black Creek. So, like I said, if you guys are looking for an area to fish, I just want to throw that out idea out there for you guys on the St. Johns River. You can come over here to Black Creek and hit up this little Peters Creek. Anything that I notice, I also fish down all the way past this little bridge here. I didn't catch really anything along this area here. It seems kind of hard to get anything. Maybe the water's just different here. Maybe it's more muddy and murky over there. I'm not really sure. But I couldn't catch it. Everything that I caught has been either right here in the beginning of Peters Creek, and then around this bend here up to about the first little houses and boat ramps, and or not boat ramp but docks and everything along here. The smaller docks here seem okay. But I didn't catch anything near a dock. It's always been like the edges, like this little rounded edge here. You'll notice that edge is where I'll catch the bass. Around this bend, on the outside of the bend, is where I caught the bass. And then, like right here, where you look, all along this bend, I caught bass. All along this bend, I caught bass. It seems like when it bends on the inside here, I couldn't catch anything. So this bend, I caught bass. This bend, I caught bass. All along this bend, I caught bass. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the way the creek flows, but that give you that idea. So target these bends if you get into Peters Creek. Use a blue super fluke. It's like a blue and white super fluke, and then yeah, you should do good. Just work it very slowly. Let it hit the bottom. Pull it up once or twice. Like pop it once or twice from the bottom. Let it come down to the bottom. And then you're gonna waste your time if you're trying to work it really near the boat or anything like that. You may as well just sit in the middle of the creek and like float down and then kind of target the edge, like give it some distance, because I notice as you get closer to the grass line, like if your boat is close to the grass line, it doesn't seem like you're really getting, and like any bass I caught is because I'm casting really far away from the boat, so I'm not spooking them ahead of time. So the bass seem really finicky, and every one of the bites weren't like big hits. They were like they grab it and then they start moving with it. So it wasn't like a big slam. It was more like they grab it and move with it. So I'm not really sure. I'm new to the St. John River. I'm trying to figure it out. Most of my fishing and experience in fishing is just me being on the water and trying different things out for a while, and that's what I've noticed through here. So that's what I'll probably catch, target more bass through this. I'm going to fish more Black Creek because I want to understand it more. Everybody says it's a really hard creek to fish. I don't know. I've only talked to so many different locals, and I try to talk to people at the boat ramp too. So, but yep, I just wanted to share that little bit. This is going on a 10-minute video. I don't want to ramble on too long, so I appreciate you guys watching. If you've seen this, just give me a like and follow. I just wanted to show everybody what I've kind of learned so far here for June. So appreciate you guys' time, and I'll see you next time.